Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another wonderful tasting with the Virtual Tasting Society. Today, we're excited to welcome back a brand we got to taste last year when they were just hitting the market. Sam Filmus of Impex Beverages is their importer, so we're always excited to try an Impex brand. Today, we're going to be tasting Pokeno. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly.
Yep.
And we're tasting. Over the last year, they've come out with some really amazing expressions, things that I've been really curious to try. There are there are three iterations of local stuff. Aaron will talk more about it, but we have some awesome expressions in front of us, including a U.S. exclusive super dark sherry cask, which I know everybody loves. So we're excited to try that. Joining us today, Matt could not be here. He's down with a bit of a flu, but we have Aaron Savage, who with a name like that, he's got to be really good. So we're excited to have you here. Thank you very much for joining us. And now, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much for the introduction. Yes, I'm Aaron Savage. I'm the domestic sales ambassador for New Zealand. Like you mentioned, Savage is a great surname. I kind of wish I was about 7 foot tall and looked like a Viking. I think it would fit the name a bit better. But yeah, so what I'll do is I like to keep this kind of informal when we do this. So please, anybody has questions, type it in or unmute yourselves and just ask as we go ahead. As well, I want to start off, if everyone wants to grab Origin, and we'll just sip, I'll tell you a bit about the distillery and a little bit about the tasting order that we're going to have in front of us here as well. I kind of hate sometimes when you're 15 minutes into these tastings and there's no whiskey drank. So we'll start now. So Pokeno is the largest single malt distillery in New Zealand. The decision to build the distillery was made in 2014 by our founders, Matt and Celine Johns. They together have over 2 decades of whiskey industry in Scotland behind them. So they moved to New Zealand and then wanted to create something and give back to New Zealand. And the one thing they know what to do is to make single malt whiskey. So they decided to make it and go for there. So 2014, the decision was made. 2017, we began building. And then after commissioning in 2018, we then had our first production in 2019. So generally new product. We're only talking 5 odd years ago at this point. From the get-go, Matt and Celine wanted to create something that was sweet, smooth, and very citrus forward. That was kind of the profile at the beginning. That was the aim of the distillery. So there's a few ways that they put this together. It's not one thing, it's many areas in production that makes the whiskey. So we are using Laureate, which is a type of barley grown in the South Island in New Zealand, and it's known for very sweet cereal notes. And then what we do is we do a slow fermentation and we push it to 80 hours, which is probably as high as we can go. And that's to get more flavor into the ferment. And then we do a slow distillation as well. So over a 7-hour spirit run, we only collect for 2 hours, and that's the sweetest part of that run. Any questions on that? So our stills, we are the only thing that we brought from Scotland. So we have a 3,900 litre wash still and a 3,600 litre spirit still. So there's Sam there. So in New Zealand terms, that makes us the largest stills in the country. In Scotland, that's probably like their test stills, but here it is the largest. So one thing that makes our whiskey, so obviously 2022 is when we launched the product, which is it's only 3.5 years old, but the climate here in New Zealand is perfect for making whiskey. So the North Island, I don't know if anyone's been to New Zealand. Has anyone been here? Yeah, so you might know it's quite a subtropical climate in the North Island. What that has given us is it's an angel share of 9 to 10% loss annually. So if you look at Scotland, it's 1.5 to 2%, depending on where you are. Same in Ireland, but we're getting a 10% loss over here in North Island and New Zealand. So we're getting this lovely, sweet, rounded spirit in a shorter amount of time. So what we're going to do, we'll taste it through. We'll start with Origin, and then we'll move through going from more balanced ex-bourbon casks into more heavier cask influenced whiskey towards the end. And then we'll finish with a smoked whiskey at the very end. So how's everyone finding the Origin? How are you finding it? So I'll talk a bit about it. So Origin for us was really important. We wanted to show our whiskey not hiding behind sherry or wine cask or any other cask influence. We wanted it just to be our single malt as is. And for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of people agree, to really get an idea of the DNA of a distillery, you have to try their ex-bourbon release to sort of get a good idea of it. So this here one here, the nose, it's got this lovely like sweet lemon citrus on the nose. There's a vanilla there as well, which is obviously coming from the ex-bourbon cask. Um, Kind of like a creamy sort of vanilla coming through. But for me, it's the taste of this. It's got a rich vanilla bean. If you give it a taste, got this sweet citrus, orange, almost like a grapefruit coming through there as well. And then in the back end, there's like a toffee and a caramel. Like I mentioned there before we started, this is a breakfast whiskey, is what I would call it. It's light, it's balanced, it's very fruit forward. It's something you can put on a table, and generally everybody's going to enjoy it. Any thoughts from people?
That is delightful. Holy crap.
Yeah,
The butterscotch definitely hits
but
hard on that. So good.
it's one of them things I just find if you're not sure what you want to dram, you're not really sure what you want to go for. It's something you can pick up, and it's just sweet, enjoyable, it's smooth. It's like a comfort blanket if it was a whiskey. We go from there.
Got a nice little floral note that kind of hits right after the front of the palate.
Interesting, yeah, yeah, definitely.
Something light, not a heavy floral, just a little hit, and then it goes away into like a nice creamy butterscotchy kind of note with some like apple
Yeah,
juice and vanilla on it.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people say the floralness to it as well. I think you definitely picked up on that. But I mean, it's a product. It's a 3.5-year-old product, which, you know, if you were to blind taste that without knowing it, you would assume it was 10, 12 years Scotland terms, you know?
Yeah, it's got a really nice silky body to it, real creamy mouthfeel.
So that was the main thing. So with all our whiskeys, we try to make sure that mouthfeel was very that silky, almost like milk when you drink milk and you get that velvety texture on your tongue. That is something we were looking to get across all of our spirit. So that I mean, again, that comes down to either the slow distillation, the slow fermentation. There's many things that make create that oily spirit. So there is. Anything else? So we'll move on sort of the next one. But keep some of that in your glass because it's good to reference back into it. Amanda just enjoyed it.
I have a,
There you
I have
go.
a question.
I got a little more.
You have a question? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
good.
Which breakfast cereal would this be best in?
Oh, that's a good one. So I've done my research, and it was only research I was doing it for. But porridge is really good with it. That was strictly scientific research. That I don't know, sugar puffs. I don't really know.
No,
Do the
Vadim's right,
research.
kicks.
What's that, Amanda?
Vadim's right, kicks. The cereal.
Kicks. Yeah. Honey Nut Cheerios.
I was thinking Cheerios myself.
That may be a shout.
Plays into the oatmeal theme, so.
Yeah. Oh, I think I'll be off to the shop after this. Do some more research. It is Friday. So we'll move on to the next one. It's our triple distilled. So this is part of a series we done last year. It's called the Exploration Series. So this is one of the three. With the Exploration Series, we wanted to play around with the production. We wanted to see if we can innovate with our production rather than just doing the same runs again. So with this, obviously, it's a triple distilled. So usually we do a wash and a spirit, but we do a double spirit distillation here. Now, obviously, whenever you do a third distillation run, you're pushing the ABV up really, really high. So we only collected 20% of each run. That's short. So only 20% cut of each run, and that's just the sweetest hearts. So what you're getting out of that, you get this lovely like honeyed. There's like a lemon. There's like a creamy toffee sort of towards the back end of that as well. How do you want to find that? Do you get that? For me, Matt likes to tell me that he wanted to prove he could do Irish whiskey better than me or the Irish people. So this was his attempt at it. For passport reasons, I'm going to say Irish whiskey wins. But this is an absolute delicious dram. And we're really happy with this whiskey as well because it just got double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition this week. There's a creamy sweetness in the finish. Yeah. Fruit leather. Thanks very much. Yeah, we're super proud of this one. So really happy to see, get medals at San Francisco. But this one as well, it's got a lot on the finish. You get this lovely, like peppery, kind of pepper clove, white pepper clove on the back end as well. And it kind of just dances in your tongue on the finish and sort of drags it out and it lingers around, which is really nice. Any thoughts on this?
This is fantastic.
Thank you.
It's yeah, I get that white pepper, but it's also got like a little bit of mace.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I guess maybe I'm getting mace more than clove, but I am getting that that really aromatic ice feel. Just sort of like
tongue.
Yeah, it just kind of bites the tongue a little bit.
That's it. Kind of like dances around, doesn't it? Like it kind of really enjoys it. But I mean, for this one here, like, it's still origin. You can kind of get the origin notes there, but it's kind of just raised to another level with that third distillation. Like that's where the honey comes through. That's the real sweetness, but it's very clean. And it is at 49% as well. So there is a lot, higher ABV on this one too.
Yeah,
I think this is dangerously easy to drink.
I mean, I like to hear that. That's
I mean,
what we want.
I can see drinking a lot of this before I stand up and realize I drink way too much. That's how easy this is to drink.
I mean, that's what we're looking for in our drams, right? Well, question is, what breakfast cereal will it go with? I don't know. You can find that out. No, so with this here, it's always really fun. So we actually, when we make this whiskey, we have to change our entire production for about a month just to make this whiskey. So it is a small batch. So pretty much the production team have to just make sure everything's triple distilled. They have to watch the ABV as well. So in our regular distillation process, we start collecting our whiskey at 79% and we come off at 72%. So that's for the normal distillation. So when you can imagine when you're now doing a triple distillation, like a second spirit run, how high your ABV can really go there. So it can reach up above 80. So we got to make sure we only take that small cut, and that's the quality of the run. Go from there. So the next one in the series is another sort of ex-bourbon but cask influence here. So in New Zealand, I don't know if anyone knows about the law around wood and whiskey here. We can use any type of wood. It doesn't have to necessarily be oak. So Matt and Celine kind of knew this from the beginning. And then they were looking at all this native wood. We have some of these fantastic native woods here in New Zealand. And they were saying, why don't we try to, we've got the water from New Zealand. We've got the barley from New Zealand. What's the last element that we can add flavor? And obviously that would be the casks. So from that point, then it was where do we get a cooper from? Coopering hasn't existed in New Zealand since early 90s. The last working cooperage was in the early 90s. So there was no coopers here. So what we did is we actually went to Speyside Cooperage in Scotland. We found a guy called Mike Tozzi, who's a cooper there for 15 years. and he's now New Zealand's only cooper on site at the distillery of Pokeno. So with that opened up a lot for us, right? So it was very exciting. I mean, apart from shave toasting and recharring casks, or rejuvenating wine casks, whatever it is, but we could also make native wood barrels then. So the first thing we done was totara. Does anyone know what totara is? It's kind of like outside of New Zealand, I don't think the nose is very nice. Yeah, lovely nose. Got lovely like stone fruitness to it as well. So totara is actually mainly used in farming to do fence posts to divide up the farms. So some totara fence posts have been there for over 200 years. It's a very strong and durable wood, which isn't really great for making casks because it's very tough. It takes a lot more work to actually get it to bend. But as well, if you go back further back, the indigenous Maori have been using wakas to actually build their canoes. Do you know the canoes that the Maori have? Yeah. So they're made of totara. If you go way back hundreds and thousands of years, they've been making them canoes out of this wood. Yep, it is indeed. It's a type of timber, is what it is. So totara being such a tough wood, you can take an oak plank and you can bend it within 40 minutes. Totara takes about 4 to 5 hours to actually get it to hold and bend. It's a lot of steaming, bending, steaming, bending. There's one around the corner from my place. Oh, really? Oh, cool. There's totara there. Can you chop it down there? You're not allowed to chop it down here. So then we use totara. What having totara, it's such a unique New Zealand thing. So what I love about this whiskey is that we're all kind of discovering it together because it's never been done before, and there's flavors added to the whiskey that you've never had. There's something that more tastings I do, people are referencing tasting notes, and I'm finding it. Peach, oats, nutmeg. Interesting, yeah. For us, we get this lovely on the nose. It's like cream of coconut. It's got this like sappy peach / apricot note on the nose, and then you get this kind of like fresh wood smell as well. And then taste, there's this like not the sweet lemon and the other drams. It's more of a bitter lemon. Moving on to them stone fruits, and then bitter dark chocolate and a long and sweet finish on it as well. How do you guys find it?
I just tossed it in the chat, but this is like a peach cobbler in a glass.
Peach cobbler in a glass.
Yeah, it's got that peachy stone fruit. It's got the creaminess, the kind of the little cakey bit that goes on top.
Yeah.
I agree with Jason about the nutmeg, but this is delicious.
It's lovely. I mean, so that was kind of pretty much our notes as well when we first tasted it. But the more tastings I do, the more people tell me what they have. So like recently there was a lady at a tasting who said cotton candy floss to me, which I was a bit like, I don't know. I went back to it, and you can definitely, there's like a sweet confectionery note in the mid palate that I can see where cotton candy floss is coming from. It is. But for us, this is super exciting. Like, no, this could potentially be our Mizunara. The order is Origin. Oh, there, Jane's got it. We're on totara at the moment. Yeah. Something that reminds me of Mizunara, but I can't figure it out. So this could potentially be our version of Mizunara. Now, obviously, Mizunara is a type of oak, but I mean, we hope it's going to be our Mizunara, right? That would be perfect. So we launched this here last year, so it's pretty new on the market. And the more people that are discovering it, it's just getting better and better. Any more thoughts on this, Venom?
I think you scored on this. I mean,
yeah,
you've got this native plant, and it's yours. You're not going to get it anywhere else in the world, right?
100%. So like for us, yeah, you're right. You can't get it anywhere else in the world, but there's also other woods that we've got coming as well. So there's kauri, which is a type of that's a very famous tree here in New Zealand. So we've tried kauri, that's on the way. Putakawa, which is our Christmas tree. It's a very big tree that in December time a lot of red flowers come off on it. So it's Christmas tree because December and the red. So we're trying that as well. And there's many more different woods that we're working with. Now, obviously, being native wood, we're not allowed to chop them down. They have to be sustainably forested. So it's actually illegal to chop it ourselves. So I can't go out in the middle of the night with my hood up and chop it down, or else I'll be arrested, right? So what we do is we work with sustainable forestry companies. Whenever things fall, whether that be from storms or I don't know, accidents on a farm, they'll ring us and ask, do we want to use the wood? So it's a good way to do it as well.
That's erratic, but it's the best way to get good wood.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a bit of a pain. So I mean, we're enjoying it a lot, but it means if everyone enjoys it too much, there's only I think I'll take my pickup truck and drive it into a few trees by accident.
You might notice after 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm like, here's a bottle. Don't worry about it. My wood.
As this is sitting, opening it up, getting some air into it, I'm getting like almost like a mocha note to it, like a little coffee cocoa note.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. I get that. It's like that bitter chocolate, but now the air's there, it's sort of becoming a bit more creamy. Is that?
Yeah, more like the cocoa powder.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like the black cocoa.
Yeah.
It's that super dark black cocoa. It's got a really, really deep, kind of almost unctuous flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever had black chocolate cake or something like that, it's that
Yeah.
it's so dark it makes devil's food look like white cake.
Yeah. But as it's getting the air into it, that's definitely what I'm picking up on.
Open up a bit more, yeah.
It's also got a nice long finish that changes a little bit with time as well. So I'm really curious to play with this one, based on what Amanda just said, leave it out for a while to let it breathe a bit and then drink it. And then anyway, this one's fun. This is a great one.
Yeah, I mean, it does change over time. I do think that the peppery note kind of subsides a little bit the more it's aired out a wee bit. I quite enjoy the peppery note though, but I think the more it sits there, it does sort of become that more sort of smoother on the finish and a bit more of a creaminess to it. Moving there.
Yeah. It's got a bite, but the bite is kind of friendly. It's
like a warm hello, It was like
it's like getting bum rushed by your nephew when you haven't seen him for 3 years. So
yeah,
it's an affectionate nip.
Yeah. It's like, why are you doing that? But I love you. Yeah. So now we're going to the next bunch of whiskies that we have. We're now getting on to the more cask influences here. So the next whiskey we have is our Discovery. So Discovery is one of the core range whiskies that we have. It's a mix of first fill bourbon casks, Oloroso, and Pedro Jimenez cask as well. A lot of people ask, what's the mix? It's 70% bourbon, 15 Oloroso, 15 Pedro Jimenez. Simple reason for that is that we didn't want to over sherry this whiskey. We wanted to find a nice balance. Rather than the sherry dominate the flavor with this, we wanted to have our whiskey come forward and the sherry enhances the note. So we have. So if you give this one a smell on the nose, it's got this lovely like ripe cherries. You get the dates, the sultanas there as well, but you also find that sweet citrus that you find in Origin. So I think if you've got some Origin there as well, if you go back and just reference it back, you'll see one Origin's become way more lemon and vanilla, but also you'll find that sweet lemon note coming through just in the mid of Discovery.
So Origin obviously is your first release. Discovery,
Yes.
I think Discovery and Origin are the two core releases, right?
Yeah, Discovery and Origin are our two core products, so they are.
And then the other three, the triple, the Dotora, and the winter malt, those are limited, right?
Yeah, so the triple, the Totora, and the winter malt are all a part of that exploration series I was discussing. So they're all playing with different productions. So triple distilled was triple distilled. The Totora cask was us actually making a world first barrel and aging whiskey in that. And then we'll get to the winter malt as well, slightly different. But Discovery
Packaging of
is
them is insane.
the packaging. Yeah. Hold on, let me get it.
I mean, the bottles, Sam, the bottle's kind of the same, but the box there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so the box. So the
Somebody
good
went
thing
above
about
and beyond.
whiskey, I feel like whiskey is a marketer's dream because you can come up with all these doodles for like 4 years before it's actually released. Sam's got it there as well. Yeah, so they got the box. So these are the boxes here, and then they actually open up this way, and each box tells a story of the whiskey. So Sam had the triple distilled. So on that one, you've got a ghost still illustration because we only have two. Yeah, that's the Totora, or that's the triple distilled there. Absolutely. So we had a bit of fun with these as well. I do love whenever I meet people and I show them the box for the first time. I think when you go like that, they really go, wow, and can't believe it. But we'll go back. So how's everyone finding Discovery?
It's like a strawberry compote on a creme brulee.
Oh wow, that's a brilliant yeah, that's a brilliant note.
Yeah, it's
Strawberry.
got that strawberry, that sweet sort of reddish fruit kind of thing, and that's what it makes me think of as strawberry. But it's not like a fresh one, it's one that's been through some stuff.
It's been cooked down.
Yeah,
I know
like
what you mean, Jade.
compote.
Yeah, it's been cooked down. It's like in its own
Yeah.
juices, like that you would pour over pound cake.
Yeah. Like, or you're making jam and you're just stewing it first, right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's that reduction, so it kind of concentrates part of the flavor.
Yes, yeah.
It's also got that creamy mouthfeel like a creme brulee. So it's I'm back to the word unctuous again because it's just got so much body.
Yeah.
The mouthfeel. This is luscious.
But as well, what I really enjoy about this as well, and I love my heavy sherried whiskies as well. Don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. But this one here, it has that balance, right? Like you're still getting that original single malt, like that ex-bourbon cask coming through, and the sherry's just ticking it along. I get like on the taste, I get like a Black Forest Gatto, if you know that dessert. Like yeah, Laurie sees it. So like I really get that coming through as well. And then you do find the ripe cherries, and I think that's ripe cherries could be in that strawberry note that you were saying there as well. But then in the end, you get this lovely chocolate on the finish as well. Kind of sticks around for a bit. You know, it's not heavy. It's not a heavy PX chocolate note, but it's just light and it's sweet as well. So Discovery and Origin have been our flagship that we get into markets with. I think they're a really good play off each other as well. Like you're getting that kind of light, sweet style from Origin, and then you get this more robust, bodied whiskey with Discovery as well. I don't know if anybody's a weekend bartender, but if you use that in a Negroni instead of gin, if you use that, absolutely fantastic, especially on a nice summer's day. So recommend that as well.
I'm in.
You're in? Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah.
You won't turn back.
That I'm getting a little bit of the chocolate note you mentioned. It's almost like cacao nibs.
Yeah, it's more cacao nibs than like
it's not a sweet chocolate. It's that bitter
raw
chomp
chocolate.
on the raw good stuff. This is
That's it.
I'm in
It's
love.
lovely, right? Like
Yeah.
and what I like as well, it's that balance, right? Like I keep saying, like it's bourbon, but it's also got the sherry, and the sherry's they're dancing. The Oloroso, the PX is just dancing with the bourbon and just making it a really nice, easy whiskey.
Yeah, I could totally wear this as perfume.
Yeah. Well, then you wouldn't be able to drink it. So.
Well, it only takes a dab, so.
Yeah, it's true.
That leaves the whole rest of the glass. I'm good.
There we go. So then we'll move on
It's
to
the
the next one.
same barley, same
Yeah,
process, just the cask are different.
Yeah, Gordon. Great question. Yeah, in this one, it's all the same barley. So across all of the whiskies so far, it's all the exact same barley mash bill. So we're using that New Zealand Laureate I spoke about. So we're using that pretty much against it. The only one that we changed the mash bill is the last one, which is the winter malt. That's the only time we changed the mash. But great question as well. So with that, Pokeno, how's it going? Nice. But yeah, so yeah, apart from that, we're using all the same barley. So if we go to the next one, which was a special for you guys, so we turn the sherry up now. So for all you big sherry bomb heads, be a cup of tea. There you go. I got a few in the room. So this we did release with Impex. This was cast strength, fully matured in a Pedro Jimenez sherry butt. So this is rich. It is decadent. I mean, Sam's got it there on the screen. It is, look how dark that color is as well. So down to that fast maturation speed that we get, that whiskey is just taking all that flavor in a very quick time. So with this, for me, it's the perfect cigar dram. I'm a sometimes a cigar smoker. This is like what you need. It's got that full body. It really cuts through with the smoke. The nose, you get in the cacao nibs, the dried figs and cherries as well. And there's almost like a treacle and a cinnamon note towards the nose as well. And then on the taste, you get that oaky notes, but you get vanilla, sultana, raisins, almost like an orange marmalade as well. Sometimes they get. So I think that's that sweet citrus and the PX working together, and you get like an orange marmalade in a way. And then on the finish, it is just dark chocolate and cherry as well. Leather library chairs and old books. To be honest, I've a friend who doesn't drink whiskey, and I described something as leather library chairs, and he looked at me like that must be disgusting, and I was like, it's actually a fantastic note. That's what he was like, that's why I don't drink whiskey. So, but yeah, 100% tobacco, sticky toffee pudding. It is rich.
What was the size of this cask?
So it's a sherry butt.
So 330 bottles for a sherry butt is really low. Was this a leaky cask?
This was a hoggy on this one. It was a hoggy on this one. Yeah.
No, I look at sherry and I look at 300 bottles and I'm like, that's half of what it should be. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the hoggies in this one. So as well, forgot to say before, our sherry casks, we actually get them from Miguel Martin in the south of Spain. So they've got a far way to go. So what we actually do is to make sure they don't dry out, we send our casks wet, and then we empty them at the distillery before we fill them. So that way we don't get any quality issues as they're shipping here. The sherry butts that we use for the Pedro Jimenez's, for the Discovery, they had sherry in it for 30 years. The Oloroso has sherry in it for about 5 years as well. So quality sherry barrels, we're not using any seasoned casks. So we're making sure we're getting the best sherry that we can to go into our whiskies. This is amazing. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Literally, when I pulled out this bottle and I looked at it, and I thought the glass was tinted. How dark this liquid is. It's insane.
So yeah, it's funny. Like we did a full match sherry last year for the domestic market, and everyone, like, I think with any New World spirit, you get a lot of it's too young. That's always regardless of what age it is, too young. And we got a little bit of that at the start, but the moment I pulled out a full mat PX, people's eyes were like, "What is that?" It's like, "Is that from Scotland? Where did you get that? Are you sourcing it?" And we're like, "No, it's our maturation that is really just working on that whiskey and just giving us a round, full body spirit in a shorter amount of time." So, question: for me, this is like a lovely cigar sitting on the deck, cold night in front of a fire. How does everyone else sort of see this whiskey?
I love it. I mean, this is just blowing me away.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And the thing is, like, this is a 4 to 5 year old spirit as well. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Pokeno has it going on. You guys, I don't know what it is, what magic you guys are working down there, but you're doing. I'm so happy I signed on for this tasting. This is amazing stuff.
Oh, thanks, yeah. Yeah, look, the thing is, we're a very small team. So when I joined 2 years ago, whenever I joined the distillery, there was 4 of us. There was Matt Celine, one distiller, and me. And then from there, we're only up to about 14 people now. But everyone at the distillery is super passionate about spirit and whiskey. So there's no compromise is sort of what you hear if you come to the distillery, and I hope you do. You'll hear no compromise every time. It's all about how can we get the best quality ingredients, the best quality production to make the best quality whiskey. So if you look for our bourbon barrels, for example, we only use first fill bourbon barrels, and we use them once, and then we sell them after that. Which getting them shipped to New Zealand and then just using them once is a bit of a crazy. Well, it's expensive, but for us, it's like after that first maturation, we don't need the flavor in anymore. We want to keep first fills coming through.
But I would imagine you've got some great beer breweries down there that are pleased to get your cast-offs.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't drink beer because I don't like beer, but I would probably be really happy to drink a beer that's been in one of your used casks.
So we actually have been. Sorry, Kit.
Just because your whiskey is so great. That's what I'm trying to say.
So it's funny you say that. So we actually have done a few collaborations with breweries here in New Zealand. We have did one with Liberty. So Liberty Brewing, we give them our used barrel, and they did it was a porter. So they did a porter beer, and then we took the porter cask off them again, and then we filled whiskey and did a finish of 6 months in a porter cask, and that was absolutely delicious. We've just recently did one with another distillery called Behemoth, and that was a stout and a Belgian quad as well. So we're just playing around. It's helping local. We're working with vineyards as well. The thing about New Zealand is New Zealand has some of the best vineyards in the world. It is some of the best craft beer distillery or breweries. So we're just sort of collaborating and having fun with it and seeing what we can do. So we'll go on to the last of the thing, the tasting. So this is our winter malt. So this is the third edition of the Exploration series. So this is my favorite that we done last year. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Pressure. So with this one, Exploration series, as I said, is all about different production. So Golden Ass on the last one was it the same barley. This one is 4 different types of barley strains in the mash here. So we have toffee malt, we have chocolate malt, we have our regular distillers Laureate malt that we use, but then we also used smoked Manuka barley. So if everyone knows Manuka honey, famous, costs a fortune for some of the honey. It's ridiculous. So what we did here is we actually got Manuka wood chips and we smoked it into the barley to get the flavor. Picture.
We'll take one.
Picture. So we smoked Manuka chips into the barley here. Now for me, this one's fantastic. It is on the nose. You get wood smoked honey. There's chocolate. There's like a gooey caramel note to it and vanilla. It's just absolutely delightful on the nose. For me, it's like dessert in a glass. Is really what's going on. And then taste. it's like rich melted chocolate and fudge. And then right towards the end of the palate, that chocolate and fudge, I find becomes like the chocolate, the fudge, and the smoke on the end becomes like a roasted coffee bean, if you know what I mean. You know, like a freshly roasted coffee, and then you know, espresso. You get that towards the end of it as well. It's not very heavy on the smoke, it's quite light, but it's there, and it really transforms that whiskey as well. So this one, we actually got a double gold, 97 points in San Francisco competition as well. So we're super pleased with this one, especially me, as this was my favorite of last year. How does everyone else find it?
Wonderful. Now, where do we find this?
You'll have to
Can we-
ask the guys there where you can
Sam?
find it. Sam, we know.
You guys close to Mission Liquor would be the one to shop. Looks like Vadim is recommending it, the whiskey shop in San Francisco. They both ship. Or send me the email and I'll connect you with the store near you. Just let me know where you reside or prefer to shop.
But it's absolutely fantastic. For me, it's that rich coffee espresso note on the back end as well. Maybe it's being in New Zealand and being a massive coffee snob country. Maybe that's something that I'm pulled towards. Yeah, Colin, how do you find it?
I love it. I love it.
Nice. And with this one as well, I think
That's actually my favorite.
that's your favorite one.
They're all very nice, but
Are you a big smoking Pete?
Sweet and peat is it's
Yeah,
a winning combination.
Yeah,
This one's just got so much going on. I mean, you
Yeah.
could sit and talk about, just sit with the whiskey for an hour and chat, and you're not going to repeat yourself. I mean, this is amazing.
And
Yeah.
it's less lactic
Come
from all the
on, this
other.
isn't fair. This one is absolutely dessert. This is just
Yeah.
dessert by itself. I don't need anything else. Just this after dinner. Or after everyone else has gone to bed, I'm sitting quietly on the couch with a book and this, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I get like
It's a coffee truffle. It's an espresso chocolate truffle.
coffee truffle. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I just get a little bit of like a bruleed honey, like almost like if you'd make like a coffee chocolate baklava with a little honey on top and just char just a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's a good point with the baklava. That was a good point there, George.
Yeah.
I am getting ready for Greek Easter this weekend, so maybe I just have it on my head.
Well, now you got something to pair with it. So no, like with this one as well, like someone was saying there, like over the next hour, like you'll just always have something to say about it. With this as well, the more it sits, the more that chocolate becomes more of like a creamy, like dairy milk chocolate, like that kind of like sweeter style of chocolate. It really does transform over time. But for me, like super proud this one got the double gold as well. This Sam's just put up as well. It couldn't be better because it was the one I was my favorite last year. We all have, you know, everyone varies on opinions. So for mine to get a double gold at San Francisco, I was very happy.
And I have to say, I'm really shocked by how light this is.
Yeah,
Because it's such a light color, but the flavor is so intense.
it's an interesting one, right? Because I mean, if we were to use Scotland as a reference, if we were to have that, like you say, if we were to have that flavor, and it was twice as dark as that, it would make sense in a Scotland reference. You know, you wouldn't question it. But I think because of our maturation and the climate that we're in, like, I mean that's 4 years this product is, so it's 4 years in cask, and we're using ex-bourbon casks here as well, so we're not using any other cask types. It is just ex-bourbon. Go from there, but it's absolutely fantastic. Enjoy it. But yeah, any questions on the distillery?
Well, there are a couple of things. You're flying.
Yes.
So I missed my cue to do the photo. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah.
I invite everyone to take a second, Lucas, to jump back on camera. And raise a glass, get something in your glass. Hopefully you have something left over. Lucas, come back. Everybody make sure you vote on the poll, because I have a feeling this is going to be a fun one. But Aaron, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Sam, thank you for setting it up. Cheers to you. Cheers to Pokeno.
Cheers, guys.
Beautiful. So I got Aaron mid-speech. That's great. Those are my favorite.
I was in the kitchen, sorry.
All right, fine. One more.
Hey, Lucas.
Lucas is back. Raise the glass and smile to your camera. Got it.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks again, everyone, for coming along. Super excited with this exploration series and the results that we got. Tony, take note. Hopefully tomorrow or Saturday you'll be with us. But yeah, there's loads of exciting things happening at the distillery. If you follow us on social media, follow us on Instagram or Facebook. If you guys ever find yourself in New Zealand, please get in contact with us. And I will happily take you around and show you what we have going on site.
When's the best time of the year to visit New Zealand?
So your winter is perfect as our summer. So January, February, best time. December as well. Lovely and hot.
So when we're down for the Christmas holidays, go over there.
Come over. I'll take you around. If anyone's been to Scotland, just turn the scenery up to 11, and that's New Zealand. It is a fantastic country. Put it this way: 10 years ago, I came for 1 month, and I've been here 10 years now. So, so I really am. But we have loads of exciting things coming out as well. We're trying to innovate and play around with new stuff. So we have the Kari, the next native wood, on the way, and we have some rum casks, some muscatels, you name it. There's plenty going on with us.
Which town you based on?
Pokeno?
Where on the island you are?
Oh, we're in the North Island, so as I mentioned. So we're about 40 minutes south of Auckland. 40 minutes south on a good day. Traffic
Depends
on a
traffic.
weekday. 2, 3, 4 hours. Just pull in, get some food.
It looks like a local shop. It looks like a local shop has the Prohibition Porter Oloroso Sherry single malt. Is that different from what we had drastically as far as the sherry one, or what?
Yeah. So actually, Kate, remember you mentioned about the beer cask. So that one actually is one of the series we did with Liberty. Sam's got it there. So we give them a barrel. They did a porter, and then we put Oloroso into the barrel and aged it. So so imagine all them sherry flavors, but then you're starting to get these like porter notes, so that kind of like coffee, chocolate, then distinct porter notes coming through in it as well. So that one was really fun as well. I forgot about that because it was one of the first ones we released. So, but it was really well regarded, that one as well. Any questions on the distillery or?
I think Sam's something here where we're going to find everything that we tasted tonight.
Absolutely, Kate. Aaron, we want to thank you. I know it was a short notice because Matt has got a pretty bad flu. So it was a fantastic presentation. You guys doing a great job. We're so proud to be your US importer for Pokeno, and I know a lot of things are in the pipeline that you were strong enough not to disclose, but that's fine. We're patient, and I think this patience will pay. Since we were talking, and Vadim, Jane did a great job last time, so you can go to New Zealand for 364 days. You know that your group is in the good hands, and your group, as I told you before, I enjoy all the comments. It's just beautiful. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to take a moment because we were talking about different type of woods and etc. And to tease you a little bit with this specific bottling. And this is Pokeno that was fully matured in a Amontillado sherry cask. We're about to launch it with edition 4, which is going to be coming up soon. So watch the space. another fantastic Pokeno. It's a compliment of the distillery to us as an importer, or they think we're doing a good job. So I'm not gonna argue with this, but this is the museum cask that they were kind enough to share with us.
Yeah, I mean that you guys have been an awesome importer for us. It's great working with you guys. As well, that release that you have there is fantastic. So if you guys enjoyed the format PX, you can only imagine the flavors you're going to get through with that one as well. Is there a release date for that yet, Sam? Do we know?
It
So-
just came in. What I combine it with other releases to have 5, 6, 7, 8 casks.
Okay. Yeah.
And just so it'll be there soon.
Exciting all the way.
I also wanted to say, how, the distillery itself is super, super unique, and Matt is very keen to be the experimental, and, I'm pretty sure you shared his history of being with Glenmorangie for 15 years and Haliburton for 10 years. And his enthusiasm just doesn't have any boundaries. The single cask, the first one we brought in was double cask, which was a bourbon cask, recast in a first fill bourbon cask to first fill bourbon cask. PX, it's a little bit risky to, usually people use Oloroso or Pinot for full maturation. They would use PX for, finishing. Matt went all the way from day one, having that in a PX cask. It's just fascinating what these guys are doing with this. I just can't catch up on all his crazy ideas that turn into a great whiskey.
Same here, Sam. I see him daily, but Matt's very much to put it in the distillery this is Matt's retirement. Okay, so I don't know how you foresee your retirement, but mine creating a brand and is probably a lot of work. So Matt's an active relaxer, so he's constantly thinking of what to bring out, what casks he can get, where he could get them from, what can he do that's weird and different. He's like Sam was sort of saying, he's essentially bouncing off the walls half the time with ideas, which is kind of what you want, right? If you want to be a single malt distillery and you want to innovate, you want somebody who's going to push it and just come up with crazy things and dare to try things, like dare to give it a go, and that's essentially what Matt and Celine are all about as well. There we go. Any other questions, guys?
So I have not got an answer to the ultimate question. Where do I purchase these items? Because Mission isn't selling, the Discovery or the PX, or certainly not the winter malt. So where do I find, let's just focus on one, the winter malt. Where do I find the winter malt in the United States?
Sam an email and he'll give you a store that you can get it from.
Thank you.
Location. Yeah, Sam put his email into the chat, so that's going to be the best way to do it, because it looks like Mission had it and they're sold out. So Sam has the database, probably just not pulled up right now. He'll get it to you.
But like the winter malt is tricky. All the rest between Remedy, Mission, and K&L, you can find all of them and a few more.
I don't see the sherry cask anywhere, actually. Not even at Whiskey Shop, which is actually Sam's garage.
There's a place called Chip Pacific Beach Liquor in San Diego. If anyone's going to San Diego soon, that has the winter malt and the sherry.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Jordan, that's the one I found too.
And it's
Chip.
only $99, and I'm going to be in San Diego on Sunday.
What? It's almost like I knew that.
There you
Wow,
go.
Vadim.
Vadim, the PX sherry is
Vadim.
in K&L for
Buy them out.
$119 and in Chip Liquor for $124. And Chip's Liquor is the only one that I see that carry the winter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Chip's Liquor in San Diego. But I guess the winter is brand new, or it seemed like nobody still posted it. Sam, is the winter is brand new?
Going first of all, thank you for saying that, because now Aaron will go to Matt saying that I am still, actually working by placing those things. The whiskey shop, they do have it, I guarantee it. I just checked again, my invoice to them. Sometimes they would not put everything on their
Online.
site, just hoping people either call or come there. But it's there, so if you want to call, I'll put their phone number there in the chat. Some of them, like Mission, Remedy, or High Time, you guys, majority of you in Southern California, as I understand, they carry it and then they run out of it, and would be great if you ask, they would special order for you. KNL, another thing. Jason, you in Minnesota, talk to Melissa. We kind of allocate because you can only get a certain number of bottles out of this cask, but it just came in, so we still have it in inventory. So we'll be more than happy to ship it to whatever you want. And here's the whiskey shop's phone number.
Seems like everybody's trying to get a bottle of winter malt. Is that yeah?
Well, you sold it. It's mostly it's all you.
I mean, it's different, and I think like Golan said, it's that perfect like sort of umami of sweet and smoke. Like the balance is just right. I
So
think a
funny
lot of
because
people.
I'm so anti-peat, and I don't taste any smoke on this. I mean, I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of
So
spice
is
on it.
Matt. So funny enough, so is Matt. So like Sam was saying there. So Matt used to work for Glenmorangie / was at Ardbeg for a bit as well. He drank way too much Ardbeg in them days. Got an Ardbeg hangover, and he cannot go near peat anymore. If anyone who's had an Ardbeg hangover, you'll know it can be rough at times. Beautiful stuff, but the next day can be bad. So Matt is very much not. He's more of a sweet, like balanced sort of whiskeys. So this was his sort of compromise, was to go more for smoke than go for peat. And again, it's one of his favorites as well. It's just that perfect balance of not heavily smoked, but just enough that it really sits there and is present.
Vadim, did you show the result of the?
No, but I think it's pointless at this point. Aaron, so we all voted for our favorite expression of the night. What do you think was the favorite expression?
What do you think we're going to say? Just
I think you're gonna say it's Totara cask, as I think what you're gonna guess.
I mean, it's a strong contender, but it's Totara.
All right. The
I
answer is
point out before you do this, Vadim, I went back to the Totara cask and I'm drinking it now, but I gave myself a break between, the winter malt and this one. It holds up very well. It's not big like the winter malt, but it's still nice. It has a nice long finish. It's wonderful. So I almost feel, me and Vadim in these polls, I almost wish you had separated them out. Anyway,
0.5s.
show us the results.
But yeah, the winter malt took it by a landslide. 50% of the votes went to winter malt, and then sherry cask is second behind it. Wow.
Nice.
But hey, as an honorable mention, Origin took 1 vote, so that was cool. Who picked the Origin as their favorite? There's one person. You don't have to tell us. It's okay.
So it's interesting if you have some of the Origin there when you go back to it. It's just even more like it's more approachable. Like it was Tony.
So
the Origin,
I actually went back to the Origin. It's kind of fun to go back to it after tasting everything else, because now I can see the bones of this in every other dram.
Yeah.
And it's like
100%.
It's such a perfect backbone for all the other things that you guys have done. I mean, it's fantastic by itself, but to know that it's a piece of everything else, it just kind of bumps up everything just that little bit more.
I think that goes back to what I said. Like, we want to get our DNA. Origin is the DNA makeup of the distillery. So from that point, everything else is just going to get, added in quality going on. But for me, when I go back to Origin, it's just way more inviting and sweet. Breakfast whiskey, as I said. Well, I don't know.
I almost feel like the first 3 are sort of quieter, calmer version. And they should have been maybe judged separately from the second 3, which are much bigger, bolder spirits. But But as you have said and Jane said, the backbone is in all of them. You know, the origin is in all of them. And
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever you guys are doing down there, you're doing it right. This is amazing. Every single one was a winner.
Oh,
The
thanks
poll
very much.
wouldn't let me vote for all of them, so.
Man, I
How
went back to
many-
triple distilled and so much lemon on the nose now. It's insane.
Yeah, the triple.
Come back to the triple.
It really was a tough choice on the poll.
They're in Pokeno.
Oh, so, Pokeno. So it's oh
That's
well,
a town.
think about the town. Pokeno town is famous for bacon, ice cream, and now hopefully whiskey soon.
Those
So
are all three things I love.
it's a one-stop shop. If you're
One-stop
bringing
shop.
if you're bringing kids over, or you got like nieces and nephews on a holiday in New Zealand, there's a 12-scoop ice cream cone. You can leave them there. Come and see us for an hour. By the time you get back, they'll still be licking it, so you'll be fine. So we're about 40 minutes south of Auckland city centre, and about 30 minutes north of Hamilton. So that's kind of where we're at as well. The actual name Pokeno is Toreo Maori, which is the language, and it means spirit of the night, which is like perfect. You couldn't make that up, but it's literally what it is. So Po is night, and Kino means spirit in Maori.
You only distill at night by law.
Yeah. Full moon, like 6 times a year.
It's so interesting that these are, I mean, very big props to you for the order you put these in. This was really well curated. And it's interesting that the way they were released was not in the order that you would taste them. You know what I mean? Like they were all, because we didn't taste Exploration Series 1, 2, 3. We like did this whole zigzag, and it made a lot of sense as far as palette goes, but as far as the release goes, it was totally out of whack.
Yeah. I was there. I think you don't want to put like winter sort of the second one in, because it might affect that smokiness, might affect the next flavor as you go along. I think the PX would stand alone on its own at the end anyway, because it's just so rich. But the sort of idea was to have it, that quite light and balance, and then we're adding on flavor and depth as we go. Like Kate said, like a rise. Like
No, it's fantastic. Well done. It's just interesting the way you released it, because the proof on the releases went up as you went, right? It went like 66, 40, 47, 48, 49, I think.
Yeah. But then 50, what was the PX? 55, 56?
So Sam's
Next
for sure
55,
said
man.
56, but this is 55.8. The bottle said 55.8. So I guess that was another thing I wanted to ask. Was that just, did it drop during bottling or something? Because all the paperwork said 56.5, but then the bottle said 55.8.
So that proves that you have a very discerning palate, that you were able to get 0.2 ABV difference. So the way it works,
No, I'm saying the bottle said it. It was on the bottle.
the way it works with the, we do the label approval, so we get the ABV from the distillery. By the time the label is approved and the actual bottling takes place, there's a little bit of a margin plus or minus. So yeah.
But I mean, at that percentage as well, it's so clean. The 55.8, like it tastes like it's lower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to pick a bottle of this triple distill. It's so good. God knows I need more bottles.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm kind of banned from that now. I've got like 200 in the other room. When it starts to go across the floor, my partner is now telling me that, nah, I need to stop.
So somebody put up that meme. Those are rookie numbers. Come on, Jordan. I'm waiting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well,
Come on,
I mean,
I have
looking
like
at
15 bottles. I need more. Y'all can buy them and give them to me.
Floor
I'm
whiskey's your
looking
friend.
at the backdrop of some people there, like James and Tony. I'm like, yeah, I can't really complain. I need to take a photo of them guys and show it.
Look, it doesn't count as long as you don't actually count how many bottles you have.
That's
Good
true.
point.
So just
Okay.
don't count them, and then you're like, I have some whiskey.
Just bearing, just, I don't know, the
I
whiskey's there.
I counted, I have a lot.
How many do you have?
It was over 160 at this point.
I find bottles taste better when you pick them up off the floor. Like you sitting at your work desk and you just lean down and you go, oh, what do we have here? Oh, I'll try that. I'll try it. You know, it's just the way to go.
When you
You heard
scan
right,
them into
John?
only drams, you know exactly what you have.
I got Olin drams and I scanned one, and then I looked at my bottles. I was like, this is gonna take me hours, so I'm not gonna be doing this.
It
Hours,
took
weeks.
me like 3 hours on a Sunday morning that was rainy.
You have
Everybody else was
one
sleeping.
thing.
What-
You have
what'd your
one
bunny have?
wall thing. You don't have that many.
Yeah,
Tim,
the
you
trick
need to
is
go to
you're
York's
gonna
house.
try a dram of every bottle you scan.
That would be
I like
had-
that challenge.
I'm at
Maybe scan
about
the walls
210
at
right
the end
now.
of it.
I
Hey,
actually
y'all, I feel like we're just bragging about how alcoholic we all are. And I think
Well, if we were alcoholics, none of us would have any bottles left. So
Right.
we are
Right.
connoisseurs, we are collectors.
Yeah.
understand we enjoy tasting, and that's why we have so many bottles.
Trust me, I know plenty of alcoholics. There would be nothing.
Jordan
Jordan blows me away with how many bottles he gets a week.
I
He's
hope-
always posting 5 or 6 bottles coming in.
I have a couple bottles.
And he
But,
opens every single one.
Understatement of the evening. Is it?
but I asked my wife once, I was like, because it truly is my one vice that I spend money on myself. And I said, does it bother you? She goes, no, I know you have a lot of good bottles. And I wonder, like, in my lifetime, am I going to taste all of these? Like, how many of these will I ever get to actually taste? And I was like, no, it's fair. We should, like, go through. So we've been doing that. But yeah, I have a couple hundred open right now. So we're good.
Got a
Yeah.
backlog.
No, what I want to know is how many you have that are not open, because you generally open it instantly.
I think unopened, I probably have like 100, 150 unopened.
Okay.
400 to 500 probably, if I were to guess.
Yeah. That's
But
a
Jim,
damn
looking at
good
your background, you drink whiskey not by bottles, you drink it by casks.
That's
Aaron,
When my wife says I have too many bottles, I use Jordan as an excuse.
Jordan,
you're the
last
reason
week
why
of the
my
week
fire
before.
insurance is so high.
Tim, I promise you, there's been so many people that have come over to my house and they're like, "Can I take a picture so I can show it to my wife so she doesn't get mad at me anymore?" I'm like, yeah, go ahead. There you go, Jason. You got to bump up those numbers, buddy.
900? What?
900? Oh
I don't
my
think they
god.
All right, guys, field trip to Jason's house. He needs help. We need to
Jason. Oh my
we need to
holy
open some of them.
Toledo. Yeah, exactly.
We call this proof.
Aaron, I want to ask you on the future, you guys, with the 10%, 11% angel share,
Yeah.
where you see as aging, kind of where you guys want to take it.
Well, a 10-year might not exist. Let's put it that way. Because we'll have
Yes.
nothing left. Look, with a high maturation, we're finding that around 5 years is kind of seems to be the sweet spot. When we start getting closer to 5.5, the oak is really starting to dominate. The cask, the oldest cask we have at the moment is 5.5. We're going to wait till 6, and then we're going to see what it's like at 6, and then we'll make a call on it. I think we will keep some just to have it and see where it goes. But at this point, 5 to 5.5 seems to be where the oak is too much and it's dominating the note. So,
And
I mean,
and New Zealand have any regulation at all, or
oh, so the New
it's
Zealand
open
laws.
market?
This is fun. When you hear this, so the laws in New Zealand for any spirit, if it looks, smells, and tastes like said spirit, you can call it that spirit. So that's the rule. So famously, there was a rum distillery here that was it's called Honest. Okay, the name of the brand, and they were using whey protein from milk company to make it. There was no sugar in the process, and it was rum, legally classified as rum. And that's just, to be honest, that's the same with whiskey at the moment. But there's a few distilleries. There's about 5 of us, 6 of us that are doing it properly. So we have set up the DSA, which is Distillers Association Aotearoa, New Zealand. And we're making sure we're trying to put through into law now. The product has to be over 3 years to become a single malt whiskey. Has to be malted barley. Has all proper Scottish rules to enforce it. So we don't get cowboys coming in and I don't know making whey protein and calling it single malt. But yeah, so there's about 4 or 5 of us that are doing it properly, and we're trying to make an actual law and trying to lobby it through at this point. But it takes time to lobby things, which I'm sure some people are aware of. It takes a while.
It's
But-
all pot still, or some do columns?
At the moment, everybody is pot still. Yeah, everybody's pot still currently. Like the people that are here, they're all doing it. They're all doing it well. They're all trying to do it most authentic way possible. And Matt, that's credit to him. Matt, with his knowledge, gives all his time to help people and help the industry grow as a whole. He sees New Zealand single malt as a bigger thing across the world, and he's really trying to aim for that too. But I do love that there was a company called Honest Rum that wasn't made with sugar. You can't write that, right? Let's talk about satire. Yeah. Well, guys, listen, I'm going to have to run off, but thank you very much for having me tonight. And I hope to see you all in the US at some point, if not in New Zealand.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
Cheers,
it,
Murray.
guys. Thank you very much. All right. Take care.
See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.